From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Mornings LALATE.
It's a big morning of Mornings LALATE with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. Direct and live from Santa Monica, California, as a recon has been done and dealed and nearly sealed. The incredible reach a deal on Friday night is detailed in this recording as a deal between the progressives and the moderates says that the recon will pass unconditionally in just a few days. I'll explain the details. As of agreement to call vote within just a few days, and it'll be rubber stamped. Just rubber stamped is on its way. Whoa. The price is right. No one knows what the price is. No one knows what the price is, and they don't care. What is this? I'll explain the details in this big morning's broadcast, and then get that pen and paper ready. Because the price is right, and the programs are in, and the programs are out. I'll go over the incredible programs across this incredible recon, and that clusters of programs, many of them will pay you on average about $15,000. We'll go over the student loan debt forgiveness that is being proposed by executive order yes, let's go over that as well in this recording. Then fifth stimulus right behind that. That would be right after that 5.9% COLA raise. Boy, we got a big morning broadcast with us because the toast is toasting, the butter is buttering, and we just need an addition during the votorama of some bacon. We need the bacon amendment. We do need that. And if a side of some tartar sauce would work as well. The toast is toast and the butter is butter, and I'm here, you're here, as the recon is going to the finish line. And we now have an agreement that the recon will be passed and going out of the House into the Senate. It's huge. It's confusing, but it's all recorded and it's all detailed and it's all live explained in this big morning's broadcast, which starts right now. Having a beautiful morning, and hope the weather is good where you are. Jump in the live chat and tell me where you're tuning in from and how the weather is. A deal is happening. We have a deal on the recon that will have a rubber stamped vote in just a few days. What date is it? I'll have the details in this recording. The price is right. No one knows what the price is, and they don't particularly care. How is that so? I'll explain the confusing details in this recording. Then programs in, programs out. Here we go. Get your pen and paper ready, because these programs will pay you a lot of money. Third stimulus, the average viewer of this channel got $45,000. I'm going to show you how to get at least an average of about $15,000 across all these clusters of programs and checks. Then student loan debt forgiveness, at least $10,000 has now been offered. Will the Democrats take it? The latest details in this morning's live broadcast. Then fifth stimulus heats up right behind that COLA raise, and fifth stimulus could be that big lift, not once but twice, for my seniors. Those details and more as we go into a big, bold, beautiful morning's broadcast, direct and from live in Santa Monica. I'm excited you're here, and this is LALATE, America's most watched, most talked about, and most covered broadcast news channel. Live in the morning, taped in the afternoons. Coming up next is Noontime LALATE, and then we got a big new afternoon show at 3 o'clock following the 1 o'clock afternoon show, a big new evenings LALATE show at 5 o'clock. So subscribe, like this video, and consider becoming a member to the most comprehensive, the most accurate, and the most in-depth coverage of these policies. Let's go right into this incredible recon. The incredible recon was passed 3 weeks ago in a subcommittee of the House and is now slated to be a final vote of the House. In this recording, we have a lot coming up, so let me give you a roadmap of what's happening in this recording. First, I'll go over these clusters of checks broadly for you. Then at the commercial break, we'll come back and we'll go over what happened on Friday, what's happening going forward on the voting of the recon, House and then Senate. And then we'll go back over the programs more specifically. I'll be answering your incredible questions you've been sending me around the clock on social media about eligibility for each of these programs. That's coming up in the second half of this video. Get a pen and paper ready. But let's start right now. Here we go. In that subcommittee, they passed 3 clusters of checks across different programs. Many of those clusters, all the checks survive negotiations. What are we looking at right now? The House bill. The House bill, all these provisions, I'm going to go over what got in there, what price tag, and how they got in there. But across these 3 clusters of checks, in totality, across all these different programs, they'll pay you on average about $15,000. Viewers of this channel under third stimulus got on average of $45,000. As soon as third stimulus became law in spring of this year, I told viewers I can get you an average about $15,000. On average, they've gotten about $30,000, $40,000. The very common number on this channel is about $25,000. So in this recording, we're going to go over all these incredible clusters of checks under fourth stimulus that'll bring back everything from third stimulus again that you got $30,000, $40,000, and new programs. Wow. It's a lot of money. And here we go. Let's go to the first clusters of checks and let's see which were passed in the subcommittee of the House and are now going to be passed on the floor of the House. Here we go. Hazard pay is surviving. And you're going to hear in this recording when I say front end or hard cold cash, it refers to something in your hand up front. If I say back end, it means it comes on the back end after you do something. Hazard pay got in there back end. That is the essential workers 1 more year, the earned income tax credit. $4,000 of elder care. We believe it's hard cold cash. It is front end and then the money to care for the young child. The college students, congratulations to you. The Pell's Grant recipients will get hard cold cash checks of $550 in your hands up front. Then the repairs of your home, if you're in a low income community, yes, they got that in there, hard cold cash checks. Stay with me later in this video. I'll be going over some of your questions about that eligibility. Then the CTC, 1 more year, the child tax credit, hard cold cash checks, $3,600 to $3,000 per child, low-income family. Then they got money in there for the bikes and cars and a lot more than we thought. This is back end, $12,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle from the U.S. auto manufacturers. Wow, that is coming up later in this video. I'll have more about that. But everything in this first cluster survived. Whoa, survived the subcommittee and is going for a final passage in the House floor vote. Let's go to the first add-on, and it's huge. It's inspirational. Maxine Waters' provision for $25,000 for the purchase price of your first home got in there, but not at $25,000, some other number. What is it? We will see. I don't know just yet, but it got in there. Let's go over again what this is. Hard cold cash in your hands for the purchase price of your first home, likely given to the seller in your name during the escrow period. Wow. I'll be answering your questions about this from Ryan and Lynn Glenn later in this video. Stay with me, but let's go to the second cluster of checks and let's see which of these survived. First, let's go over what survived and what didn't survive, and then we'll go over the numbers. Okay, paid family leave survived, child care program survived, household tax credit survived, pre-kindergarten in there, community college did not survive, and weatherize your home survived. So weatherize your home. You definitely need weatherize your home, hard cold cash, weatherize your home, especially if you see Joe Manchin drive up in the driveway with that horrible color of Maserati. Weatherize quickly. There you go. Then how about these other numbers? The paid leave, the paid family leave, it's thousands of dollars. Stay with me later in this video. I'll explain the money to you. Hard cold cash. Pre-kindergarten, hard cold cash, 1 year. And there you go. Let's go to the second add-on. It's a likely covered benefit, not an actual check to you. And it was proposed at $250 billion, and they nearly got that number. Whoa. Great work, Senator Bob Casey and Joe Biden. They wanted $250. They got a little bit less. What is it? Free in-home health care for my seniors and my people on disabilities. Someone sent me a beautiful message about that, a question about it. I'm going to feature it later in this video, but that got in there. This is free home health care for my seniors and people on disabilities. Let's go to the third cluster of checks, and let's go over each of them one at a time and see the numbers. Free school meals in there, got in there. That is hard cold cash check, $65 per child per month if they're not in school. Cheaper prescription medication got it in there, not a check, a benefit. Immigration reform got it in there, not a check, a benefit. Free internet, don't know. Clean energy out. Money for the farmers, don't know. Independent contractors, don't know. Dental, vision, hearing, lowered eligibility age of Medicare, and the Medicaid gap 10 holdout states. Let's go over all that. That's a lot. First, the dropping the Medicare eligibility age, I don't think it got in there. The Medicare, expanding Medicare across the 10 holdout states, got it in there. I'll explain it later in this video. It's very complicated. Then the dental, vision, and hearing, they got the hearing in there, but Bernie says the dental and vision is coming in the Senate. Wow. So let's go to the third add-on, and that third add-on is MSC, which stands for monthly or multiple IRS stimulus check. It was always a Senate move, and the Senate move is really now at issue because guess what? We saw over the last week that the House has just really set it over the Senate because the Senate in the second half of this video, stay with me, says, I got a lot to do. I got a lot to do as senators, and when you send us over that House bill, we're going to start working it up. There's now two opportunities for senators to add provisions in there. Remember, it's the senators, Coons, Casey, Sanders, Warren, Schumer, Wyden, who've told thousands of viewers over many weeks that they can insert this during the Senate side. But we now see there's two possibilities of where to insert it. First, the vote-a-rama, the one we always talked about. What is the vote-a-rama? It's a 2-day event, 48 hours at the very end of this process. During that vote-a-rama, they introduce changes, aka amendments, to propose to the actual House bill. Those changes are big game changers. Why? Historically, the vote-a-rama introduces stuff that the House members never even thought about, never even addressed that issue. For example, in third stimulus, Liz Warren and Chuck Schumer saw a big issue. The issue was they were about to get some student loan debt forgiven. The forgiveness of student loan debt is taxable. So if you're going to have $20,000 of student loan debt forgiven, you have to pay $10,000 out of your pocket to IRS immediately. Ooh, problem. So Liz Warren and Chuck Schumer, during the vote-a-rama, a third stimulus earlier this year in 2021, put a provision in there that the forgiveness of student loan debt is tax-free. Yes, it's incredible, great news. House members never even addressed it. That is the power of the vote-a-rama. But we have another opportunity, and this opportunity is potentially even better. Senate subcommittees. You're going to see later in this video, stay with me late to the very end, there's going to be a lot of comments by senators that says, I have a lot to do on this recon. So send it over to me. You want to hope that the recon goes into those Senate subcommittees, which is not normally a situation when the Democrats are in control of both the Senate and the House. But here, the senators say, I got a lot to do. A lot to do is not 2 days in a quick vote-a-rama. 2 days, you want to hope it goes to Senate subcommittees, and you want it to go to the budget subcommittee because Bernie Sanders is in charge of that budget committee on the Senate side. Let's go over the incredible message of advocacy, which is important to advocate until you're to the finish line because the senators are making a lot of changes. And that incredible message of advocacy came in from the #1 senator for the recon, his chief of staff. And that message by that chief of staff is important for you and me. Let's read it together. They now have in total between congressional and senators' offices received more contacts of advocacy from the LA Purple Power than the number of signatures of the American petition. Everyone's amazed by the outpouring of stories, touching stories from the LA viewers. Now they have a better understanding of what people are going through because of the pandemic than a bunch of signatures. They have heartbreaking stories in the LA viewers, and they have the voice of the people in you, LA. As you have become too loud to be ignored, LA. I thought it was the red shirt. I thought it was the red shirt that was too loud. Please continue your encouragement for the continued advocacy. As the professional voice of the people, you have become LA. And continue until this becomes law. Absolutely. As Jennifer says in the live chat, every time she's in there. How many times have you called today? You want to make a note. Here are the senators you want to advocate to. Advocate is saying, I need it. This is why I need it. Not asking for it or tracking it. Advocating. Here are the senators you want to contact. You want to contact Warren, Sanders, Coons, Casey, Wyden, Schumer. Advocate for that inclusion. Because guess what? As soon as this House bill comes out of that House and comes over to the Senate, then starts the work of those senators, and there's a lot of work they represent they're doing to this recon. In the second half of this video, we're going to go over what happened on Friday. It was very confusing, even for the most dedicated viewer. It could be confusing until I explain it, and I'll make it very simple for you. We have a vote set for the recon, and it will pass. It'll be a rubber stamp vote. How does this work? I'll explain the details. Price is right? No. They have no idea what the price is, and they don't care for the purpose of the House. Strange? It is strange. And then please get that pen and paper ready because you want to make notes about the big money that will pay you thousands of dollars across all this incredible recon programs. I want you to know all that incredible information is coming up in the second half of this video. Then student loan debt forgiveness, more debt debt could be forgiven by executive order. What is it? And then fist stimulus. All those details and more, plus my commentary coming up in the second half of this video. The toast is toast and the butter is buttering. It's a big, bold, beautiful day. I'm excited you're here. I'll be back with you in just 60 seconds from now. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now, live from Santa Monica, as a deal has been reached in the recon, a deal that means there will be a rubber stamp of a vote in just a few days. What does that mean? I'll explain the details. When is that date? It could be literally this coming week, if not the week after. I think it will be this coming week. The price? No one knows. And no one really cares. Strange, very strange. Then programs in, programs out. We'll be going over the incredible programs. Get that pen and paper ready. They'll pay you on average about $15,000 across all these incredible programs collectively. Then student loan debt, more debt could be forgiven. Whose debt? It is incredible. It could be yours. Stay with me, it's coming up late in this video. And then fifth stimulus, boy, here we go. Fifth stimulus coming right behind that COLA raise, 5.9%. Here we go. It's a big, bold, beautiful morning. We're live on air. We are direct from Santa Monica. I'm here, you're here, and the bacon's still missing. But other than that, we're good. Other than that, we're fine. And with that, subscribe. This is LALATE, America's most talked about news channel. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 16-hour shows a day, and a lot of information, a lot of help. So subscribe, like this video, and consider becoming a member. Here we go with that big deal from Friday. Let me explain to you what happened. I know it's complicated. I know it's confusing. Even for the most dedicated viewer, it could be confusing. So I'm going to slow it down and do it even for my brand new viewer that may have found the channel today. Thank you for finding this channel. Two bodies of legislation, two different names, two different, totally different things they're doing. One body of legislation is called the roads and bridges, or the infrastructure. There's no money in there for you. It's about roads and bridges. The second body of legislation is called the recon, or reconciliation, or social spending bill. Now, as if that was not complicated enough, the president wants to use the same name to refer to both of them. Build back better. No, let's just avoid that name. Well, who supports your recon? The House progressives. Who supports the roads and bridges? The moderate Democrats. Now, what's important to understand is that the recon passes with just Democratic votes. You don't need a Republican vote. But we had an issue going into Friday, and the issue was the following. You had part of the Democratic Party saying one thing and another part of the Democratic Party saying something different. This is what was happening. The progressives were saying on Friday, we will block the Democrats' roads and bridges unless you vote for our recon first. The moderate Democrats were saying the reverse. We will block your recon unless you vote for our roads and bridges first. How do you solve this? You bring Nancy Pelosi in, who is brilliant at doing exactly this. She reached a jaw-droppingly incredible deal, which sounds bizarre on its face, but it works, and it works brilliantly. What was the deal? The deal that she had was she brought the moderate Democrats in, had them raise their hand and vote on the record, had them write in pen with their name and sign. that they will, as moderate Democrats, vote in favor of the recon without any conditions as soon as a Congressional Budget Office's report is released no later than the week of November 15th. Whoa, that's a lot in one sentence, isn't it? Yeah, so let's go over each of that slowly. She got the moderate Democrats to agree they're going to vote in favor of the recon. Wow. So what are they waiting for? They're waiting for a report from where? A nonpartisan organization called the Congressional Budget Office, CBO. So what happens if they get the report, those moderate Democrats, and they look at it and they don't like it? Nancy already thought about that one. She says you can't back out. You don't like the report, you still have to vote in favor of it. Wow, that's incredible. So once they get the report, then they vote in favor of it? Yes. So we're done. Yes. So what day is this? They need to get the report first. And again, it says no later than the week of November 15th. Let's slow that down. That does not mean on November 15th. It does not mean on November 15th. It does not mean only on the week of November 15th. It means no later than the week of November 15th. Could it be this coming week? It can. What's at issue is how long has it been since they requested the report? I've been detailing people asking this report since Tuesday of last week, so that's almost 6 days ago. Bob Menendez was talking about it last week, and I covered him on this channel as soon as he mentioned that comment live on air. So if they had ordered it this last week, which they may have, it could potentially be ready this coming week, to which I've been saying to viewers, you know what I'm about to say. Take a nap on Thursday, because guess what happens Thursday night? Thursday night, midnight, is Nancy Pelosi's favorite hour to call votes. Her entire life, Nancy Pelosi at midnight on Thursday nights calls votes. When a young child, she woke up her mom and said, Mom, it's Thursday night. We're voting. What are we voting on? My Little Pony or Hugs and Kisses? Go back to bed. Thursday night, it's always midnight, and it's time to vote on something if it's the Speaker of the House. So is it very possible? It is very possible. So let's go over that again. A deal has been reached. Let's read the actual sentence. It confirms exactly what I said to you. The commitment to vote on the recon in its current format is done. We commit to it, and as expeditiously as we receive the report from the Congressional Budget Office, no later than the week of November 15th. Wow, done. So that's your deal. So that means the vote could happen as early as this coming week, if not the week after. As soon as that Congressional Budget Office report is released, which could be in just a few days from now, then away we go right into a vote, and we're done. We're done in the House, and we go over to the Senate. We are finished with the House. Price tag. No one knows. This is why that Congressional Budget Office report is very funny. Why? Because it has nothing to do with the House. What do I think? I think they're just sending it over to the Senate with the report. The issue is that a Joint Taxation Committee report released Thursday morning said that the recon is only paid for at 1.4. 1.4. That would mean that at least $500 billion of the recon is not paid for, inconsistent with what the president said to the press on a Saturday morning. We know that the recon was 1.75, but this last week started with me saying 3 provisions were going to go in there. My predictions were right. All 3 went in there, but they weren't free. Paid leave got in there. It's $200 billion. So you went from 1.75 to now 1.95. And then they added in the 2 other items, cheaper prescription medication and salt. So we're over $2 trillion. Important note that to make is that the Democrats don't really have an issue about the number. They're not having an issue about the number, and the moderate Democrats never really had an issue about the programs. So here we go. Programs in, programs out. Well, we're going to go to the first program, and the first program that got in there is paid leave. Paid leave pays a lot, thousands of dollars. First, what is paid leave? Paid leave is you have to stay home because of the birth of a child of someone in your household or an illness of someone in your household. Not COVID illness, just any illness or your illness. For example, if you look back in the last year, did you have to stay home from work for a week because your son had the flu? Or did you have to stay home from work for 2 days to take your wife to a dental procedure? Or did you have to stay home because you broke your leg during pickup basketball on the weekend? Yeah, this would be covered. So how many weeks? 4 weeks. How much? Oh boy, here you go. You ready for this one? Under third stimulus, it was proposed at $1,700 a week if you make $70,000 more per year. Split in half. $800 a week if you make $35,000 or more per year. Split in half. $400 a week if you make $15,000 or more per year. Yeah, times that by 4 weeks if you're out for 4 weeks. It's a lot. That's $5,000, $6,000 on the high end, and the low end, thousands of dollars, at least $1,500. It's a lot of money. And the best part of it is the final part. The final part is it's for every worker in America. Nancy got it at the furthest, broadest eligibility you could have. It will be all income levels, and it'll be for all types of employees. W-2, 1099. Uber and Lyft driver who makes $25,000, your wife is giving birth today, yeah, you can take off, and you will get paid from the federal government for it. Department store employee, W-2, you have to take your wife to a dental procedure, yes, you will get paid for it. It's incredible, and it is in that recon. That is the first of 3 add-ons that I said would go in there this week, and it got in there. The second add-on, viewers said to me, LA, it's very confusing. Can you slow this one down? Absolutely. So we're going to go over this provision, and it is SALT, S-A-L-T. SALT considers the issue of paying taxes from state to federal. The at issue concern is the following, that when you go to file your state tax return, on your state tax return, you pay taxes, and you may also pay local city taxes. Well, when you go over to your IRS federal tax return, you can deduct how much you paid in state and local taxes. But there's a problem. Only up to $10,000 under the Trump 2017 tax code change. Well, Gothenheimer and the moderate Democrats wanted to change this, and they got it done. What did they get? Instead of a cap of $10,000, it will be a cap of $72,500 of your state and local taxes that you pay can now be deducted on your federal tax return. It's huge, especially in big states where have big taxes like New York and New Jersey, where he is from. All right, let's get that pen and paper ready and go over some other provisions of this recon. So we went over paid leave. Well, the home health care, the hearing care, the hearing aids, we do not know if it's a voucher. It may be a voucher, which is hard cold cash, or it'll be a covered benefit. Cheaper prescription medication, we'll go over that in a second. $40 billion of job training, free. Viewers have been sending me a lot of questions about this. Absolutely. Want to become a truck driver, make a fortune? Yeah, free job training, $40 billion of it. Okay, here comes another confusing provision. Let's slow this one down. The Medicaid gap fix. Under Obamacare, it became a national rule, but there was a problem. Republican-led governor states were offering it, but not paying for it. So what did they do? Per the request of Joe Manchin, Raphael Warnock, senator from Georgia, and Claiborne from the Carolinas, came up with a wonderful provision, and it's in the House bill, and it will provide a workaround plan for those 12 holdout Republican governor states. What is it? If you're in one of those states, you will get subsidized private insurance for low-income individuals at a very, very cheap rate for the first time ever. Wow, incredible. They got it in there. Immigration reform is in there. And immigration reform is not a check. There is a fake news story that is floating around. And let me tell you what the fake news story says. And let me tell you what's going on. During the Trump administration, it's true that millions of immigrants were separated from their families at the border. Fact. Then what happened was, of those thousands of people separated at the border, a few hundred filed lawsuits in federal court against the federal government for being separated families and children at the border. Few hundred cases. Those few hundred cases, the lawyers have demanded settlement offers of $400,000. It's settlement offers in lawsuits. Those settlement offers, if ever paid, have nothing to do with the recon, have nothing to do with the roads and bridges. That money is not in these in these bills. They are just, if they want to settle the cases, they're somewhere else, not from this pot of money. The president specifically said he's not selling it for $400,000. There you go. Then the big exciting news is the housing assistance. Wow. If you have been a viewer of this channel since January 2020, even fall of 2022, fall of 2020, you've seen the ability of viewers to get big sums of money from rent, utilities, and mortgage assistance. The average viewer of this channel has gotten about $20,000 from just rent alone. What's going on? Under the third stimulus, there was $47 billion allocated for this money. And as soon as the third stimulus became law, I said I can get you on average about $15,000. Just on rent, viewers got far in excess of that prediction. Well, guess what? That money was not even used up as of 2 weeks ago. That's why Treasury sent out the last $13 billion to stay in local. Now, Viewers who have gotten 2 or 3 rounds of money for rent under third stimulus can go back and get more of it under fourth stimulus. Wow. So that is where all this big money is coming for under fourth stimulus. And while third stimulus was $47 billion, it's $150 billion under fourth stimulus. You do not have to be necessarily behind on your rent to qualify. And guess what? That's just the start. It also has in there the home repairs for a low-income community and also the purchase price of your first home. Great questions are coming on in. If you have a question or comment that is hideously complex, bring it on. Send it to me on social media, private message. The most complex, the most elaborate, and I'll answer them either in private message to you or on air or both. Here are some of the questions and comments I got overnight. One person said, I believe her name was either Kathy or Mary, said, I got married and my husband and I bought our first home together. I'm now divorced. What if I go and buy another home right now as a first-time home buyer after this becomes law? Do I qualify? Great question. Don't know. We have to look at the definition of first time. If it's first time as a single buyer, then you would qualify. So we have to look for that language closer to when it becomes law. Great question. Ryan asked a great question 2 days ago. He said, I want to buy a mobile home, not a wood frame or a brick and mortar home. Does that qualify? Great question. I think it would. Again, we have to look at the language, but it is a home. We have to see how they define the word home. Very great question across the board. Then one person sent me a beautiful question about the roof. He wants to repair his roof. When you look at third stimulus, the nonprofits are doing nominal repairs to make sure you're not cold, wet, or having snow come in your house. Things like a broken glass window, which is, $100, $200 expenditure. A $15,000 roof, the nonprofits, I don't think they're doing that under third stimulus. Fourth stimulus, this is really what it's talking about. Repairs for a low-income community home, yes. So I believe, and if any of the volunteers know this answer question, send me on DM. I believe if you go to sba.gov, you can still check whether your zip code is a low-income community. There's other online resources for that. And that would show if you would qualify for those home repairs as well. Keep on bringing your great questions. I love it. That's what we're here about. Me helping you, you helping others. In-home healthcare. Well, in-home healthcare, $150 billion of it. And I think it was Mary sent me a great question. She said, I think this is great. I have home health care. But my question is, she said, is what about the people that provide the care? Are they going to be treated better? Yeah, I saw language in there. It's vague, and I don't know the details yet, but the language was a better quality of workplace environment for the in-home healthcare worker as well. So not only free home healthcare for the seniors and people and disabled, but the worker will have a better workplace. I don't know how and in what manner. Just don't know if it's the salary or the hours or what it is. But yeah, I did see that language one place, so I will track that for you as well. We'll work as a team and go through all these provisions as soon as it becomes law. There is that provision. That is likely a covered benefit, not a check to you. Okay, here comes a check, $550 hard cold cash to my college students. The Pell Grant will pay you another check across the board. The big surprise is when we talked about climate, $550 billion of it, we thought it was only for power plants. Untrue. Now you can get $12,500 of credits back in for the purchase of an electric vehicle made at a union shop. This is huge because it was supposed to be $7,500, which is the current law. They broadened it to $12,500. Big. And that is GM, Ford, and Chrysler across the board. $65 checks, hard cold cash checks to parents for a child that is staying home during the summer months from school. When they're in school, then free school meals, which brings us to the final add-on. Here we go. Cheaper prescription medication. This is the biggest win of the last week. And boy, if there's two things I could do, I would say, one, I want to thank the person who got this. And number two, I want to fire the people who didn't tell you he got it. What is it? This is Joe Biden's win. He got this himself with his voice in his phone. The persons who didn't tell you about it, his press corps that ran coverage of Rome climate instead of this. This was the story you run. This is the story that impacts people's wallets instantly, not Roman climate 2-3 years from now. But let me tell you what happened. If you're a senior on Medicare, you should be ecstatic. Let me back up. 20 plus years ago, when Medicare was rolled out, its charter agreement said that whatever Big Pharma wants to charge you for medicine, you have to pay it. Medicare. And it was a problem. Their hands were tied behind their back. Yesterday, on Mornings LALATE, I asked viewers, if you are on Medicare and you pay for insulin, can you send me a private message telling me how much you pay? And it was either Kathy or Mary that told me she paid, it was $500, $600, or $700 a dose. And Mark told me his wife pays $900 a dose. Joe Biden, as of Wednesday, got that to $35. This is huge. This is astronomically huge. What happened? For 20 years, Big Pharma, with 15 paid lobbyists, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, blocked any change to the code, so that if they wanted to charge Medicare $2,000 for a dose and pass the cost over to you of $900, they could. Not anymore as of Wednesday. If this becomes law, it's huge. What happened? The president on Wednesday night, not this last Wednesday, but the Wednesday before that, picked up the phone and called Kristen Sinema, the big holdout on this. Said, Kristen, you can't hold this up anymore. You got to do this. And she agreed. She agreed to the provision, ending 20 years of tyranny of the subject matter, and she even blessed the entire recon, is blessing the entire recon going forward. Who got this? Joe Biden with his phone call. He negotiates better than anyone else when he's face-to-face or on the phone with someone. And we never heard about it. So let's go over the incredible provisions and what it works. It starts with prescription medication starting this year. About 20 of them, ramps up to about 30 prescriptions by the year 2028. It is the most expensive prescriptions. It is cancer, arthritis, diabetes. It is the stuff that is hundreds or thousands of dollars. It's not the $10 flu medication. It is the big ticket items. Immediately, Big Pharma will have to negotiate with Medicare in good faith about all these prescriptions and must negotiate in good faith. And once they make an agreement, then Big Pharma cannot raise the rates more than the rate of inflation that given year going forward. That's big because that's what everything is doing now. Rate of inflation, like for stimulus. It's huge. And as they expanded, more medicine will be added. This is Medicare Part B, Medicare Part D, Medicare for seniors. And guess what? I gotta love Chuck Schumer on this one. He says it's great, but get ready for next year because I'm coming back and biting away at more of it. Whoa, I love it. He knows it's a starting point, but he wants to do more. Let's go over the reaction to the news. It is jaw-dropping. Chuck Schumer says, people just couldn't afford their medication. Now they can. Ron Wyden says, for the first time, government will no longer have their hands tied behind their back. Kristen Sinema praised the moment. Scott Peters from California says it's really good for seniors. We have Jan Skakowski, representative of Illinois, says, she's so excited they got it done with so many lobbyists. And Ron Wyden says a transformative event. This coming week, potentially 2 provisions will be determined whether they have to be removed from the recon. What's at issue? There's a person called the Senate parliamentarian, not a Democrat, not a House, not a Republican. She's a lifetime official of the U.S. government and is a nonpartisan official. Her job is to look at the rules of the Senate and determine if a provision can stay in the recon or does not allow to be going by reconciliation, has to be removed. What are the 2 provisions we're going to find out about? First, immigration reform. Second, the paid leave. My predictions, just predictions. I think the immigration reform will come out because she's previously removed it. And the paid leave, I don't know, 50-50. It's sort of a hit and miss because some people say it can go in there. Some people says it cannot go in there. And there you go. What is important to understand is that the price is right. No one really knows, and this is why it's at flux, because the recon is heading over to the Senate ASAP as we're done with the House. And the senators over a week ago said, I got a lot of work to do. If they got a lot of work to do, it's a very fluid situation. The price is going up. We saw it has gone from 1.75 to 1.95. It will continue to go up. So what is the reaction to the situation? Senators across the board say, I got changes. Send it over. And that is why you want it to go to potentially that Senate subcommittee. Bernie Sanders says the best bill since the 1960s, but has major gaps in there. People need dental and eyeglasses. When asked, are you going to add things in there? He says, of course I am. People need dental and vision. When Ron Wyden was asked about the subject matter, he says the deal's not done to the Senate acts. There's a significant amount of work to be done. Senator Chris Coons, Democrat in Delaware, says he's going to add stuff in there. Jalapal, AOC, Chuck has to deal with the parliamentarian potentially removing provisions. Remember, if the parliamentarian removes a provision, it doesn't remove the money. The money can be reallocated to us. Then Murphy says stuff has to be done across the board. All right, so get that pen and paper ready. Let's go over some more programs. We're going to go over eligibility. If you have some questions or notes, make them for yourself and then send it to me on DM. All right, here we go. Hard code cash checks are back in. Let's look and see. First, pre-kindergarten, hard code cash checks. 3 and 4-year-olds, 1 year. The child tax credit, CTC, hard code cash checks, 1 year, $3,600 or $3,000. My notes show $60,000 a household, not $150,000. Some notes out there say $150. Very unclear what's going on. Household means single parent or married couple. Earned income tax credit, back end. One more year about this for my essential workers. Home health care, covered benefit. And that would be great for my seniors and people on disabilities. The hearing aid. Don't know if it's a voucher, hard code cash check, or just a covered benefit. And then comes the great news about the home repair, the home items. Here we go. We have rent, utilities, home repairs in a low-income community, and the purchase price of your first home, all hard cold cash checks. $550 of Pell's grant to college students. That's a hard cold cash check. $65 a month to the parents of families, to the parents of kids out of school per child, hard cold cash check. And when they're in school, then it's a covered benefit. Wow. Well, then the question is, are more programs going in or more programs going out? Yes. And this is what Bernie has signaled to us. And he's not alone. A lot of senators says, I have a lot of stuff to add. So what would be added? Let's go over the calculations. Let's go over the numbers and see if it's back end or hard cold cash checks. Certainly, it's dental and vision for Bernie. Bernie said, we're the richest country in the globe, and people do not have teeth and do not have hearing aid. We must have it in there. So let's go over the calculations for it. And let's step back first. With that Medicare eligibility age, 65 currently, Bernie wants it at 50. Bob Casey wants it at 55, or maybe it's 55 and 60. It's not in there, so expect Bernie to fight to get it in there. But let's go to the dental vision. Last time we saw dental in the recon, it was hard cold cash checks. It was a voucher in the mail, $850. Do I think it's going to go in there? It really should, based upon Bernie's statements. What is this? This is dental for people on Medicare, seniors, and it's currently not in there. He wanted 10 years covered benefits across the board. Then he wanted 3 years covered benefits. Then it got reduced to $850 checks, voucher checks to you. That would not potentially cover major procedures across the board, but it certainly covered cleanings. We'll see if Bernie gets that in there. The second one is the vision. Vision is the easiest one to do by a voucher, hard cold cash check of about, let's say, $150 a year. How would this work? Bernie wants vision exam and pair of glasses per year. Pretty easy. Vision exam, let's say $50. Glasses, let's say it's $100. Done. Send out a check of $150 every year for those seniors to get those glasses and get that eye exam. Very easy. Now, let's go over some more notes right now about some of the programs in and programs out across the board. And we're going to start with looking at some of my notes and see if the notes do not line up with what we're hearing. We saw that issue about the child tax credit. I showed $60,000 is at $150, unclear across the board. We have the great news about the paid leave, which covers everyone of all eligibility. The health insurance now covered across those holdout states. The housing aid, huge, $175. It's insane. It's great. And the in-home health care, $100 to $200 billion. And then insurance and the child care as well. I'll have my commentary of this situation in just a second. But let's take a breather and go over to some student loan debt forgiveness. Student loan debt, President's offered $10,000 of student loan debt to be forgiven. Democrats should take it. This would come by executive order, not by recon. He forgave 1, 2, 3 rounds of student loan debts. They were disabled. People became disabled after graduation. People work in the nonprofit sector 10 years after graduation. And people who went to work in the public sector after graduation. Democrats should take this $10,000. Then, COLA raise. Have you gotten the ladder? Don't worry if you haven't. Your benefits are going up 5.9% next year. SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, starting January 1st. But get ready for fifth stimulus because it's right behind it, which will give you 2 more lifts ups and then remove 3 programs. Well, here we go. It will first raise your benefits up 1 big time. Then it'll apply a new benchmark. The new benchmark is inflation. I've been predicting inflation about 2 to 3%. Jay Powell on Friday last week, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, said about the same number, 2 to 3%. That means if that's the case and fifth stimulus becomes law, first you're going to go up in January. Then after fifth stimulus becomes law, you'll go up again one time. And then they'll apply the benchmark in December 2022, the third lift off across the board. They're going to remove the asset cap, remove the income cap, and remove the marriage penalty, and love is going to win, and you'll be able to marry your longtime love interest. Finally, if you haven't become a member, you need to become a member. Get that newsletter that comes out Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, via this channel to you. It features the big money that viewers are able to get under third stimulus. If you just found this channel and have not gotten over $20,000 from third stimulus, watch the videos. Get that newsletter. It features the money for rent, utility, mortgage assistance, SNAP. I don't have time in this video to go over the big money of third stimulus. It'll come back in a day or two. I think it was on yesterday's video or the day before. Third stimulus is still paying out, and I want you to get that money. I want you to lean on the nonprofits. But the great news is that when third stimulus became law, I said to viewers of this channel, you'll get on average across third stimulus, across those incredible programs, on average $15,000 from those programs. Average viewer of this channel has gotten $45,000 from these programs because you and I fight through all this information. You provide me information. I help you. I help show you how stuff is happening. As one viewer 2 days ago said, she got her prescriptions, her back due medical bills paid by one nonprofit. I don't know which one it was, but that's why you want to use the resources of this channel, like all those nonprofits, and lean on them for those items. Now, when we look at fourth stimulus, the average viewer of this channel will get on average about $15,000 across all these clusters of different checks and programs. As soon as it becomes law, I'm going to show and help you how to get those incredible sums of money that repeat the monies you got under third stimulus. Easy breezy on that one. And then new checks as well. Which brings us into my final commentary to end the big, bold, beautiful morning's broadcast, live from Santa Monica, which is what a week it has been. A great bill has passed, but it needs to be made even better, says Bernie Sanders. Over the last year, we've seen words that are often floating on social media, not necessarily here, but elsewhere, where the words are promised, predicted, or said. Let's examine those words together, especially in the context of a legislation that's about to pass in the House. Promised. Recently, someone sent me a private message that said, whatever happened to that $10,000 of hazard pay promised to me in 2020? I had to pause because I really didn't know what the person was saying. And then I thought, oh, they're referring to the 2020 HEROES Act passed in the House by Nancy Pelosi, much like this bill is about to be passed in the House, and then sent over to the Senate. At the time, Mitch McConnell was the speaker, was the majority leader of the Senate. He took the body of legislation, the bill, and threw it in the garbage. Never called for a vote. Never happened. So promise, not the correct verb for the situation. Attempted to be delivered, absolutely, by Nancy Pelosi, but not delivered because of Mitch McConnell. Then predicted. When we look at, let's say, the Senate parliamentarian next week, what will she do with those two provisions, immigration reform and paid leave? Predictions, we can only predict. Hard to say, and often predictions are wrong. Then said. Legislators say things because they want to help you. They want to deliver that thing to you. And if they can't deliver it to you because someone else prevented them from delivering it to you, it's not their fault. Here's an issue. We looked at last Friday, and we looked at Jalopal trying to do something about the recon, but the moderate Democrats trying to do something against it for the recon. Over the last few weeks, we've had senators, lots of them, tell viewers, lots of you, thousands of you, that they want to insert an MSC IRS stimulus check in there. And those senators have included Sanders, Schumer, Wyden, Warren, Casey, Coons, and Wyden, repeating it over and over again. Now, let's just take that on its face value. Let's say you get to a point at which those 6 of them say, here we go, we're ready to do this. It only takes 1 or 2 other senators to say, no, not going to do it. And that doesn't mean the 6 people didn't want to help you. It doesn't mean what they said was incorrect. It means that someone else didn't want you to have it. Much like Mitch McConnell in 2020. He didn't want you to have hazard pay. Nancy Pelosi did want you to have hazard pay. And so what's important to understand is when you're looking at a body of legislators, you have a House that has hundreds of members, even in just the Democrats. You have a Senate that has dozens of legislators, even just the Democrats. They say things, and when they say it, I report it. If they say the representation, I say it. It doesn't mean when push comes to shove, if someone else prevents them from doing it, that they were any different of a person. They, with their heart and soul, tried to deliver you that item, but someone else wouldn't let them deliver that item to you. Their heart and soul is in there to the final effort. My heart and soul is here as well in reporting every time they say something for you. And ultimately, if one person steps forward and says, you know what, my name is Mitch McConnell, and you're not going to have this bill called to a vote, and Americans will not see the $10,000 of hazard pay. It doesn't mean Nancy Pelosi in her heart didn't want to help you and get that hazard pay. It doesn't mean in my heart I didn't want you to have hazard pay. I report exactly what Nancy Pelosi wanted to deliver. It means that Mitch McConnell didn't want to deliver to you. That is why it's important to understand is as we come out of this House and we head over to the Senate, there's a lot of work to be done in this recon. And a lot of senators will have different opinions. One will say, I want to do this, and another one will say, I don't want to do this. And all across the board, we will advocate and try our best effort to get them to all agree to the best thing for us. And as Bernie said, a good bill can be made better. And with that, join me next on Noontime LALATE at 11 a.m. It's coming up next. And then we have the 1 o'clock Afternoons LALATE. We have a brand new Afternoons LALATE at 3 o'clock and then Evenings LALATE at 5 o'clock. Thank you for making yesterday the most watched day of this channel in several months. We are on fire. And this coming week, there's going to be a lot of dramatics as we come out of the House and head over to the Senate. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers is a YouTube record. I want you part of this incredible family. Bring your questions. Send me your questions on social media about on DM on social media about the programs. You're confused about an issue. How do I get it? Remember, it's not a law yet. But remember, as a purple hawk, you want to pounce and learn all the information. I'm here to help you. I'm here to provide you the information, and we're here to help one another. That's the spirit of helping, and that's the spirit of this channel. Like this video and consider becoming a member. Stay informed, stay focused, keep on helping one another, keep on helping and keeping inspired, and keep on smiling, and stay with LALATE for more.